Hey guys, welcome to the part 2 of this podcast. This podcast will start directly with me asking the question, what are the industry opportunity and how the industry requirement is for this particular course right now. And we will discuss about this in detail. Plus, I will be asking about what was his fees in this particular course and his living expense, how was his personal experience. So this is more of a lighter part of the podcast where we are just going to the overview and the requirements of being in UK. So yeah, pretty chill one. But if you are directly over here on this podcast, I would request all of you to see the first podcast, or else you won't be able to relate to any of the topics that I am talking about right now. And without any delays, guys, let's get started with the video.
I would take an example of companies that are dealing more an approach towards sustainability, but you would find a kind of a gap still to be very much accepted directly into practice, and that is because it's gonna take time for the market to evolve. But what I see is the market has started evolving. Market has started adopting a lot of biomaterials. There are successful companies like Biome in London, which kind of deals with mycelium, which is fungi, and
Mhm.
they're trying to develop packaging materials. They're trying to have an approach of sound insulation panels, which is again developed with mycelium.
Yeah.
So that's again nature based. So these kind of more of like a product approach is very much appreciated in the industry. When it comes to architecture, dealing a complete building, it's kind of very much difficult and challenging at the moment. This is something that the academians are trying to do, but it's going to take time for the industry to accept, because it's always in a reach, always in a timeline of getting that maturity, or and it's going to take time. Any tech takes time. So that is one thing. But the career prospectus, if you ask me, I think it's more about the use of the uh, environment analysis tools or environmental data driven design approach
Mhm.
is very much easily accepted in companies to have candidates that know that skills, which you kind of end up learning through BioID, because you want to answer the growth, or you want to answer your design, how is it successful with respect to environmental parameters. So that deals with solar radiation analysis, that deals with moisture retention, that talks about multiple other parameters.
Yeah.
So the kind of seniors that I had a conversation with, who's currently in Foster's for sustainability team. Someone is in Zaha, so they were who's doing more of like a computational design. So most of the students get selected is who are into computational, has a very strong hand on computational approach.
Yeah.
People who are into more of like materials are starting their own startup, or getting more into materials or sciences, are more into towards
Developing products.
lab. Yeah. Developing the further research or getting into academia, or maybe also acting as research assistants. And that's a story for all the three skill sets, I would say. It's not like one, but majority of the companies prefer computational design skill sets. And if you have an extraordinary work experience, I think it's not necessary that only people like that can be chosen for a computational aspect. It could be also for material, design. It could, like, there are different types of opportunities in different companies. And
Depends on
now,
the requirement also, I feel like,
yeah, exactly.
plus to the students, I keep always saying this, and I hope you guys also will understand this. Like, always think from the perspective that you own that firm, and what skills would you need, or what skills you would ask from a master's graduate person. Like, okay, fine, I want him to know computational design, I want him to know this, because it's like checkbox for them. They are not there
Yeah,
purely for design. Like, to be very frank, not every firm or not every company functions purely on design. You have to see, like, because we are like moving parts basically in that company. We need
yeah,
to
yeah,
see what we can give to them. Okay, design and
yeah.
everything is a factor, but it should be a skill set that they can use.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that is something
So
that you should also focus on. What will give you that kind of skills? Like he is talking about computational design, and people are being picked up with such big firms because of that skill. So you have to think and like channelize according to that, I think.
yes, yes. You need to understand the demand of the market, and at the same time, your own question, your own approach towards why you want to do. So, for example, if you are doing something, there must be a reason behind it. You can't be like you just want to get up and like, okay, I need to do this master's, so I'm just going to fly, to this country and do my
I
masters
have
and
kept
then
50
be
lakhs
jobless.
in my bank. I have just kept 50
Sorry. Yeah,
lakhs.
yeah.
So like, okay, let's
So
say.
yeah, exactly. So you can't have that approach. So and when you do courses like BioID,
Mhm.
one of the most important thing that you would be required is to be really proactive in respect to question things, question the narrative of things. How is it going to be contributing to the world in multiple segments,
Yeah.
and what is that contribution that you as an individual would like to contribute to? So and when you come from an architectural discipline, you always have a bigger lens of social community approach, because you're more dealing with bigger volumes of people that needs to be contained in. So
Yeah.
that kind of allows you to already reach that question. And then when you come to BioID, it goes very into in a specific niche, and you start thinking that
Yeah.
okay, this is something that I need to delve into, and then through this I'm going to contribute to the world. That, but don't think that you design something in the course and then you will directly get to the market and you will become super famous. No, that doesn't happen. So what you would want to do is you need to take a step by step approach. When you have a question, when you are thinking of an objective, a narrative that I'm doing this course for this particular thing, and this is what I want to contribute to in the coming time to the market, or maybe I want to do a job in this, gain experience and start my own. This is always going to be a struggle. This is not going to be a very straight path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, now coming to the more superficial parts, like towards the end. So, what is the fees for this course? Like, how much do you need to pay, and like how much is the basic living expense probably? Like, because all the students, for us Indians specifically, like it's a big deal to go to UK or any other country, like for example developed country, to study. Like how much would the expense be overall?
So basically, it will go up to 50,000 pounds for 2 years. The course takes
Okay.
50,000 pounds for international students for 2 years, and so that is that's for 2 years. And then I think what happens is the living is the most expensive in the UK. So so you would want to spend around, like, according to the website, it says 15,000 pounds a year as goes annually for living for one person. But I had an experience of spending like 10 to 12,000 per
Okay.
annum for living. So it again depends on the accommodation and other things that are adding up to the
Okay.
miscellaneous amount. But ideally, if you're looking for this course, I think 50,000 pounds was the fees that back then for me, and then plus 20 for say living.
Living. Okay. And
Yeah.
then you might be doing your part-time jobs and things, right?
Yeah. So in the second year, you can enroll for part time through the university itself. That
Okay.
kind of looks for your basic, like at least you can manage, and extra income is always better
Mhm.
to have so that you can manage your other expenses. And yeah, so that's something that you do. Part time is helpful, and also sharing flat is what you can cut your costs on.
Mhm. So you live in a accommodation of college university accommodation, or you live outside the university
So
campus?
my story was very crazy because I came here during COVID,
Okay.
and yeah, so I enrolled to this course in 2020, and it was already in the middle of COVID, and I was living in a student accommodation for for the 2 years when I was enrolling my masters,
Okay.
and the basic logic was to stay as close as possible to the uni so that I can spend more time in the uni and make maximize the use of uni infrastructure. Students what end up doing is in like it again depends on an individual, but they decide that will stay away based on the cost, but end up spending the same via traveling. So
Yeah.
there is unnecessarily a lot of exertion, and then there is a lot of traveling. So why to cut so much of time when specifically when you are in a research intensive course like this, you would want to spend more time passionately, like you always question
You
and
don't have to think about that. Okay, shit, I will miss this bus.
yeah. And I think then there are other things as well, like like there's like concerns of bills, like basic co-living issues. So that always has always been a thing of an international student to have experience at some point. So I think, in my opinion, for me, it was very straightforward to stay in a student accommodation,
Yeah.
not be bothered about anything else, just go work what you want to do, you achieve, and you come back,
Yeah.
start again. So and then you also get to like there's always a diversity of people to connect to. So that also helps. Yeah.
Okay. So, how was your overall life over there? Like doing a master's, such an intensive course, and probably you would have to spend a lot of time in your university itself. Did you
Yeah.
end up sleeping in the university someday or no?
No, no.
Not yet.
Luckily, yeah, I think we are all propelled to this thought because of our bachelor's in architecture,
Yeah.
specifically in India. but no, I think the structure was very easy for me
Okay.
because there were no set of exams in the course. There was no books as such.
Okay.
What you would want to end up is reading a lot of research papers,
Hmm.
reading do a lot of book or literature review on your topic, and come closer to the narrative where you kind of specialize as you feel like as a PhD candidate, where you kind of specialize about the research whole and soul. So I think that was the best part. My experience have been amazing because this is exactly what I wanted to do,
Hmm.
something far beyond, and at the same time connecting to the roots of where I come from. So I think it was just the course that was meant for me. I think this is exactly the tailored course that I would want to do. So for me, it was just perfect. I wouldn't change a bit to it. Only I would do is like try to do is like take those 3 or 4 months that I missed of the uni during COVID. But that also the uni tried to fulfill the gap through giving more important computational segment. So I explored a lot. That time I made a good use of that time by learning a lot of computational skill set. So it again depends on individual. So all I would suggest to the people who are making investment into such heavy courses is that make use of whatever you get. Like, do not let go any opportunity when
Yeah.
you are getting into that, and stay really proactive. Constantly question why you're doing it and how to achieve that. So I think that's like something. And most importantly, one thing my father told me is that when you are going there,
Hmm.
don't think about a lot of other things. Just focus on what you're going there for, and enjoy, because you're investing there to get the best
Yeah.
out of you. So just go and enjoy what you're doing. So that's what I did, and the results were very fruitful for me. So yeah.
That's amazing. Actually, I wanted to ask this question, but you already answered it. Like, what would be your tips to
Yeah.
students who are going there? So you already answered it. Um, so how was your personal life over there? Like, for an Indian student who is going there and like who living there, what culturally did you experience, and what were the hardships? What were the good parts that you experienced over there, like on a personal level, not on the academics level? So, what
Yeah.
was your story when you say?
Yeah. I think there are a lot of Indians around here, so you wouldn't feel like you're very much away. But I only felt that when it was like first initial 3 months,
Mhm.
because like firstly, winters in UK personally I feel a bit depressing because you have a very less sunlight exposure. So you are kind of, I come from Mumbai, so I kind of feel like sunlight is a thing. It should be there. It should
Maybe you are in
it
a
should
better
be
place.
complimentary, but. Huh?
You are in a much better place. Come to Canada.
Yeah, of course.
You
No,
will
no, no, not at
understand.
all. No, I don't want to be in Canada. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, that's one thing. And So yeah, with respect to friend circles, I think you kind of end up making very good friends because most of are sailing in the same boats like you, and most of them are trying to still realize, like trying to still figure out things. And this is always you're gonna be in the situation because you're to a new place, you're out of your comfort zone, and that's very important to stay out of your comfort zone because that's when you evolve. So I think this is something that I learned, and it was a good experience. Hardships wise, I would say the COVID period was the biggest hardship because everything was closed, and the most important city like London is to explore socially, and I think I couldn't do it during COVID. But after that, I did a lot, and it's fun to be a part of part of such a diverse city like London, where you have so many people from different backgrounds, so many people from different countries. It's very diverse. So I think that way I connected to a lot of different people and learned a lot from them, sharing culture and having a different cultural background. So I think this helps you to be more global, I would say. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So this was it. This was all my set of questions. I think so. This is the like more intensive and design-based conversation I have had like on my.
Yeah.
It's mostly focused on like
Yeah.
what will be the experience, what will be the cost of living and your college and all these things. But I think so because of this course, we had that entire conversation on design. And I
Yeah.
think so the person who has watched this video till this point is basically meant for this course. Or else
Oh,
no one else will come till this point to watch something. Like I think so it is a very highly design based person. If someone is like too much into design and want to explore something different in architecture,
yeah.
it's meant for them, this particular
Yeah.
course. It's not for
Yeah.
someone who is just there
Yeah.
out there like okay क्या सबसे ज्यादा पैसा देगा मेरे को.
Yeah. I think it's definitely like that. What you said, like you have to be passionate, you have to be goal oriented or research oriented. In my opinion, I think there should be a clear statement of purpose, which
Yeah.
we call SOP, right?
Yeah.
So I think there's a clear statement of purpose. This
Yeah.
course is about that. So in my opinion, I was very clear that I'm very interested to pursue my research ahead as a PhD and then eventually start something of my own through that research. And I think it's building up pretty well so far. And regarding the career prospectors, there are studios that kind of practice with this kind of things as well in London. So I'm also currently in a right place to learn. So and work. So I think it's just a matter of staying into the domain and not completely getting distracted away from the domain. If you do that, then you kind of question that why were you at the first place in the domain. So
Yeah.
so that doesn't make sense. Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's very focused and a very clear approach. The person who has this clarity should invest on something big like this.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
And one last thing I would like to say is like students who are listening to the podcast, you can follow my work and explore my personal website called www.mangeshkurun.com, where you
Yes,
can.
definitely link with me. I will
Sure, definitely.
between our podcast, I can share few of the clips of your work.
Sure.
If you have some
Sure.
or videos or something like just to give a visual reference of what you are talking about, so that
Yeah.
like they can also relate to it and
Absolutely.
your work also gets out. So yeah,
Sure, definitely.
for sure. And guys, like, do go ahead and check out his work. Probably you will also get an idea of like what he was talking about. And I will be showing these things in middle of this podcast, so you would have seen it already. So if you find this podcast interesting, helpful, go ahead, hit a like and subscribe to my channel, and do check out his page. And I'll see you soon. Take care of yourself. And Mangesh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was absolutely pleasure talking to you. And I hope we will talk soon with some more interesting conversations about bioarchitecture.
Right. Thank you so much, Saransh, for inviting me again. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, guys, this was it. This was the entire podcast. I'm glad that you watched this entire video, part 1 and part 2. And I would be even more thankful to you if you guys go ahead, hit a like and subscribe to my channel. My channel needs your support. I need your support. It's not for money. It is just for making my videos reach to the audiences. It is for cumulative growth of all the architecture students who are there in India or all the South Asian countries or anywhere around the world. So go ahead, hit a like and support my channel. Take care of yourself and I'll be back soon. Bye-bye.